Tracy pushes back and the gatehouse plan gets its first real test. Let us start with Tracy and Michael because the conversation between them on Friday is the kind of family exchange that reveals everything about how different people see the same situation and why Tracy Quartermain's perspective, even when it seems too blunt and too aggressive, is often the one that contains the most useful truth. Michael approaches Tracy with his plan laid out. He has blackmailed Willow into moving into the Quartermain gatehouse. He will be able to monitor her closely. He will maintain access to the children. He is holding the affidavits from Trina and Kai like a card he can play whenever he needs to, but choosing not to play them publicly yet because he believes the children's stability matters more than the satisfaction of nuclear-level legal action. Tracy already knows about the affidavits. Michael told her. And Tracy's response to all of this is the response of a woman who has been operating in high-stakes situations for decades and who does not understand why, when you have the winning hand, you do not just use it. She pushes Michael hard. She wants to know why he is tiptoeing. Why he is letting Willow move into the gatehouse and live on the property and have continued access to the children when what he has is clearly enough to remove her from the picture permanently. Tracy's version of protecting the children involves getting Willow out of the equation as thoroughly as possible. Not shared custody with monitoring. Not supervised proximity.
Gone.
Let the court handle the consequences of what Willow did and move on. Michael's counterargument is the one that has defined his approach all summer. The children love Willow. Whatever Willow has done, and the list is both long and genuinely terrible, she loves Wiley and Amelia with a fierceness that Michael has never questioned. And children whose mother is removed from their lives entirely by their father's legal action against her are children who carry that removal for the rest of their lives, regardless of what the mother did to deserve it. Michael is not willing to make Wiley and Amelia carry that. Tracy hears this. She does not fully agree with it, but she accepts it in the way that Tracy accepts things she disagrees with when the person explaining them uses sound reasoning, grudgingly, with her expression clearly communicating that she reserves the right to say she was right later if everything goes badly. The social media conversation about Michael and Willow's chemistry is worth addressing directly here because it has been growing louder and the show appears to be tracking it. There is a specific quality to the scenes between these two that even the most hostile exchanges carry, an intensity that reads as something more than pure hostility, the specific energy of two people who have significant history together operating in very close proximity. Whether the show pursues this and lets it develop into something, whether the gatehouse situation eventually produces the kind of collision that the chemistry between them has been building toward, is the question the audience is now asking openly. And the answer the show gives will define a significant part of the fall's romantic landscape. A pregnancy that results from a confrontation-turned-passionate encounter would be the most classically soapy possible development. It would also be the kind of thing that forces Michael and Willow to make a decision about what they are to each other that can no longer be deferred by the cover of the custody battle. When there is a new baby coming, the question of whether you are co-parents or something else entirely becomes very urgent very fast. Tracy would have thoughts about all of that. Strong ones. Loud ones. Delivered with absolutely no filter. Meanwhile, at the pool, Scout is pulling Rocco aside with something she needs to say and swearing him to silence before she says it. The specific ritual of the teenage confidence, the swear first, then the secret, is a familiar one, and what Scout is carrying is clearly significant enough that she cannot say it without the protection of knowing it will not go further. Whatever she tells Rocco this time lands in the context of everything she has already told him, and the accumulation of what Scout has been sharing with this one person who will listen is building towards something that has to come out in a larger way eventually. Brennan appears twice, and both appearances matter. Now, let us talk about Brennan's Friday, because he is moving on multiple fronts simultaneously in a way that demonstrates exactly how deeply embedded he is in Port Charles's various storylines and exactly how much his eventual exit is going to leave a specific kind of hole. First, the Drew situation. Alexis is having a conversation with Drew at the Metro Court Gardens. She is making another attempt, patient, persistent, not giving up even when every previous attempt has produced nothing useful, to get Drew to reconsider his position on Scout's access to her family. She is trying to reach him through reason and through the appeal to what is actually good for Scout, which is the most legitimate argument available and also the one Drew keeps refusing to receive. Then Brennan appears and does something that Alexis cannot do. He corners Drew with a very specific kind of warning, the kind that comes from someone who knows things about you that you would prefer remained private, and who is making it clear in the most pointed way possible that accumulating more enemies in Drew's current position is not a sustainable strategy. Drew has been building a list of people he has threatened and promised to destroy and positioned as enemies. Brennan is telling him that list has consequences that Drew may not have fully calculated. The specific language of the warning, "A man in Drew's position cannot afford to make any more enemies," is the kind of thing that registers as a threat to someone who knows what Brennan actually holds. Drew knows there is information about his past financial conduct that Brennan has access to. He knows the black box has changed hands. Brennan appearing in his path and delivering this warning is Drew being reminded, in the clearest possible terms, that he is not operating freely. Drew leaves. Alexis, left alone with Brennan, immediately wants to know what he has on Drew and whether he will share it. Because that information is exactly what Alexis needs to provide the leverage that could change Scout's situation without requiring Danny and Charlotte to manufacture something that could blow back on everyone. Brennan agrees to help. But the condition he names, information about Jocelyn's father's company, about what Alexis knows related to that situation, is itself revealing. Brennan's fixation on that company has been building across multiple interactions. He is following something. He is not sure yet what the full picture is, but he is using every contact and every exchange to gather pieces that might help him see it. Then Brennan appears on a different front entirely. He has a proposal connected to Willow and Nina. Whatever he is offering is new, and it is connected to the ongoing situation around what Willow did and what the consequences of that are shaping up to look like. The specifics of the proposal are not fully laid out yet, which is the show being appropriately coy about a development that deserves its own episode reveal rather than a preview summary. But Brennan making moves on two separate fronts in the same day, the Drew situation and whatever he is proposing to the Willow-Nina situation, is Brennan being more active than he has been in a while. And an active Brennan in the fall, when everything is building toward his exit, is a Brennan whose every scene carries the weight of knowing he is operating on borrowed time. Sonny faces Justine's hardest question, and Jason opens up to Carly. And finally, let us look at the two conversations on Friday that are about people in transitional moments trying to figure out what comes next, and what they owe to the people who are asking them hard questions. Justine sits down with Sonny, and she is not there for a pleasant meal. She has a specific thing she wants to know, and the specific thing is whether Sidwell is going to live long enough to serve the sentence he was given. She is asking whether Sonny has ordered a hit. The question comes from a place of genuine concern about multiple things simultaneously. She cares about Sonny, and she knows that if Sidwell dies in prison and suspicion falls on the person with the most obvious motive, everything Sonny has been building toward, the legitimate business direction, the coffee importer identity, the possibility of being something other than what he has always been, gets destroyed. Not by a prosecution he might survive, but by the specific weight of a reputation that never fully gets left behind no matter how many times he tries to leave it. She also cares about herself and what their secret relationship means for her own future if Sonny's past reaches into the present in ways she cannot professionally distance herself from. Sonny's answer is a denial. He did not order anything against Sidwell. He gives her his word. And then, with the specific precision of a man who has been living in the space between what is said and what is implied for his entire adult life, he adds that Sidwell has collected other enemies along the way. That note, not quite an implication, not quite a disclaimer, is Sonny being honest about the complexity of the situation without making any explicit admission about what he has or has not set in motion. Justine hears both parts of what he said. She is a prosecutor. She hears the denial, and she hears the qualifier. She is sitting across from a man she has agreed to love secretly because she believes he is becoming something different, and he just reminded her, gently but clearly, that becoming something different does not erase the world he operated in or the enemies that world has seeded. Their arrangement depends on Sonny actually going legitimate in the most complete possible sense. Any whiff of having arranged something against Sidwell, even indirectly, even through the network of residual relationships that a mob history leaves behind, puts their secret relationship under precisely the pressure it cannot survive. Meanwhile, Jason is with Carly. He is talking about the weight of having stepped away from Sunny's world. Not with regret exactly. He is clear that the decision is right, that Jakarta changed the calculus in ways that cannot be changed back, that Danny comes first in a way that is now absolute. But grief and the right decision are not mutually exclusive. You can know something was the right thing to do and still mourn the version of your life that it required you to leave behind.